everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Abel Mireles, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all this Wednesday, November 18 of this very, very interesting, to say the least, year 2020. Um, it's my pleasure to come here and talk to you about what's going on, what we're doing with the Jazz Exchange before I present our very special guest tonight, Anibal Rojas. I'll talk to you guys a little bit about some of the programs that we're doing just so that you know what we're up to. These are very interesting times, and to say the least, of course. And but we're very happy that you're tuning in and that you're checking out the things that we're doing, especially because, as you know, this is a platform for artists, and where we talk about their music, and we talk about what their the current events are, how they're dealing with the situation, how they're still connecting with their audiences and creating content for them. That's one of the main things artists do, and we're very happy that we can provide this platform tonight. We have this amazing saxophonist, educator, and he's an inspiration definitely for a lot of people, for myself as well. But before I jump into that, because he's ready to go, I need to talk about some of this programs we got. I'd like to mention that a way to support us is to, first of all, stay on the loop of what we're doing. Follow us on all social media, and especially our website. That's the main thing, the main place where you can get all the information of what we're doing. As you can see on your screen, you'll see all the social handles for Instagram, for YouTube, for Twitter, for Facebook, of course. We are streaming this on YouTube. So if you're a YouTuber, you like to check out all your YouTube videos there, we are there. Just make sure to go to slash the Jazz Exchange. That actually just the Jazz Exchange. So make sure to do that. It would really help us out if you subscribe to the channel, since basically our channel is the spot where we put in all the information besides our interviews of the exchange live sessions with different artists in the different parts of the world, especially the New York City area. We are also updating videos of virtual jazz sessions and other programs that I'm about to talk to you about. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow us on all the social media, but mainly go to thejazzexchange.org, where if you want to become a member, you'll find out about the future things that we're doing, such as our secret shows, which I'm about to tell you more. Basically, one of the main things we like to talk about is our education program for all of those of you guys that are maybe it's the first time tuning in. The Jazz Exchange is an organization that started about 3 years ago here in New York City. We're based over here in Jersey, which is really close. We're about 20 minutes from New York. But we definitely, this whole area, we service this whole area. One of the programs that we're pushing out is our education program that we started about 2 years ago. Basically, being the bridge between some of the students from different parts of the world, but particularly in this last 2 years has been students from Mexico, from the northern part of Mexico, that want to experience uh, uh, programs like Jazz House Kids, where they do a summer workshop in for 2 weeks, and students come from all over the world and study with some of the best musicians in the New York City area, study jazz, and they get to meet some mentors and peers to get to play and learn from. So this is a program that we want to expand and we want to continue, mainly where we keep supporting this new generations of musicians that are really serious about this music and really want to learn more about it and create an artistic career. So if you want to definitely, if you want to support any of the students, get in touch with us. You can donate directly into our website, and your donations go directly to all the different programs that we have. So make sure to do that. We are fortunate enough that we actually, for the past 2 years, we've had students coming in on site. Fortunately, this year the program had to be virtual, but still we had students over Zoom attending all these classes for a couple of weeks and then doing a performance. As you, if you go to our channel, you'll find out that we actually posted a video of one of the performances. If you go to Jazz House Kids, you'll see more of that. But we still continue making sure that we bring this to the students and to you. So make sure to go to the channel and subscribe so you can see all this stuff. We did partner up with Jazz House Kids. They provided scholarships, and then also this instance we partnership with this cool it's actually a company called Smart, and they sponsor the kids to come over here. So if you're a sponsor that you want to continue making sure that these kids get exposed to this kind of education, and make sure to get in touch with us for that. We're very happy to tell you that some of our alumni are actually attending and they got accepted to schools in New York City, such as the New School and other schools. But we're very happy. We want to make sure that we continue providing this option for more students to come. We do also have a relief fund that we started at the beginning of this pandemic, where we started raising funds to basically create programs like exchange lives programs like this, like the exchange live sessions, or even virtual jazz sessions, where we started actually uh, making productions from home remotely, where people would record themselves, and we put a video and audio together in some of those, actually all of those are actually in our YouTube channel. So make sure, if you interested in supporting this cause, to support us through our channel. So now I'm very excited to bring out our friend, my friend, and amazing saxophonist and educator. He's originally from Chile, and he's been in the area for a long time. And he's an amazing performer. He's a great educator. He's a great composer, and today he's actually coming here to present this new album that's actually dropping tomorrow. So if you're watching this, you're gonna get the sneak peek of the music. You're gonna hear some of the tracks and actually check out some of the videos. So um, we want to make sure that we connect you with this amazing artist, my friend, and definitely an influence and inspiration, Mr. Anibal Rojas. Let me bring in on Mr. Anibal. How are you, sir?
Hello, Abel. Hello, Jazz Exchange. Thanks so much for having me here
Hey,
today.
no, man. Thank you for your time, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just trying to stay positive during these times. It's difficult, especially for all us artists.
I
But
know, I know.
I'm happy to, be pushing some fresh music, onto
Ooh,
the artists. I know a lot of people need it, and it's a time to be releasing music. People are staying at home, and they need new material.
exactly, man.
So
And it it brings the point. I was mentioned before. We as artists, you as an artist, you're providing this to people, a society, to be able to, we use music in every single thing of our daily normal days, or abnormal days nowadays. But thank you for the music, man, and thanks for joining the show. We're really excited to share some of your music and share some of your insight. We like to cover definitely what you put together in this album. Where you at right now? Were you saying hi from you? Are you in New York?
Right now, I'm in Astoria, Queens,
Right.
and I got a lot of friends out here. So a lot of great musicians out here, and like you were saying before, the whole idea about putting music out, I have always felt that as musicians, we're healers,
Mm-hmm.
so it's our job to always try to put positivity, into our communities, help each other, and move our forward as best as we can, and especially during these times,
Man,
you know.
thank you.
So I'm in Queens in New York, and we're staying afloat over here. We were the epicenter of it all when it all
I
started.
know.
I actually lived 2 miles away from what they called Ground
Oh
Zero. So
wow, really?
yeah, it was exciting at the beginning of the year.
I to say the least, right?
Yeah, it
Man,
was.
I know you personally, and I've had the pleasure to work with you. You're an amazing saxophonist. Um, can you tell
Thank
us
you.
you were originally from Chile, right?
I was born in Santiago de Chile, and I came to the United States when I was in my teens. So it was an interesting moment because I never really, I was never really into music. I was
Mm.
mostly into drawing. My
Mm.
parents told me they thought I needed a hobby. So they took me and they said, "Listen, I think music would be a good hobby for you." So
Mm.
my mom wanted me to play violin, and my dad wanted me to play piano. My mom listened to classical music, so violin seemed like what she wanted to hear me play, and piano for my father because my dad loved Dave Brubeck and
Oh, I
that
see.
kind of sound. So it was either, I was growing up with Take Five, some old rock and roll or classical music that my mother used to love to play. So, um, and that's where it all started. They took me to a music store, and I lucky for me, my parents let me pick the instrument I wanted, and the sales guy showed me a bunch of instruments, and they showed me this one that was all curvy, and I could see my face and all these little keys, and I was like, "What is that? It looks like a little puzzle."
Right.
And I loved it so much. I looked at my parents. I said, "Well, I don't know what that is, but I want to try that, whatever that is."
Man,
And the
that's
sales guy was like, "That's a saxophone," and so
so
that was the beginning of the end for me.
that was the yeah, man. It caught you. It caught you right away.
Yeah, it's once you cast a fever, sometimes it's hard to get rid of it. You know what I mean too.
Oh, I know, man, for sure. Yeah. And so you grew up in Chile before you moved to the States, right?
Actually, for a very brief moment, my dad he was studying at the United States, so he actually came to get his master's degree very very young when I was very very tiny. But I hardly remember that part. So technically, I was in the United States. I was born in Chile, came to the United States very briefly, went back, and then came back as a 14-year-old kid.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool.
And I mean, I go back and visit my family, but
Right. Do you still have a lot of family in Chile?
my whole
Okay.
family is my parents and my brother are here, and of course my children now and my niece. And that's all the family I have. All my uncles and cousins and everybody is in Chile.
Oh, I see, man. So it's your second home, right? New York is
Oh, for sure. I love New York City.
yeah, right,
It's
right.
the capital of the world.
I know. That's
I learned how to play saxophone. I mean, just to walk around, I spent a lot of time in Philly. I spent that time in Chicago. I spent time in New Orleans, and I specifically did that because based on reading the history of jazz,
yeah.
for me, it was important for me to find these places. My parents actually were lucky enough. My dad was working for Tulane University after he got his PhD in biostatistics.
Mm,
And so I got to stay in New Orleans for a few months and listen to a couple of players, and it was really exciting. And I still really didn't have a grasp of it because I was mostly a classical musician. I was a
mm,
legit player. So I moved to Chicago for a while, and I really got involved in the blues, and that was a huge lesson that I don't know if you can learn to play the blues at school. It's
right.
something, you hear some artists, some real true blues artists. You listen to Muddy Waters, you listen to some guys, and they just it's a feeling, it's a way of life. It's a different thing, And then coming to New York and hearing, going to the 55 bar or Fat Cat or Smalls and hearing these, top notch players with that New York sound, back in the 90s, it was incredible. I mean, I remember seeing Bob Berg and Mike Stern play at the 55
Ooh,
bar on Monday nights, for
yeah.
weeks. And I couldn't stop going. I was addicted to going there. So,
So when is
it
it
was-
that you moved to New York City, man?
well, I briefly moved to New York City in the early 90s. And man, New York City was a dangerous town back
The
then,
'90s,
and
right? Oh jeez.
yeah, it was not happening. I mean, now you see all the subways and people complain, and I'm like, I remember when the subways had graffiti on them everywhere, and it was just this kind of a scary place. You would go into these the subway, and it was like going into a jail cell or something.
Jeez.
A lot of strange looking people, and I lived in Brooklyn at the time, so
Mm.
I got my car broken into more times than I care to admit.
Oh
And
shoot.
I was done with it. So I eventually left because I was worried. I had a friend of mine who was carrying cymbals, and after a gig, he took the subway home, and we lived pretty close to each other back in the day. And some guy got on the subway and saw he had a cymbal bag, and beat him up and took his cymbals, and that was the end of that.
Jeez. Yeah.
So after I heard that story, I was like, man, I'm walking around, with at the time it was, $4,000 saxophone was a lot,
Yeah. Oh, it's still a
so
lot.
yeah. Well,
But
now, I mean, if you get a Mark 6 now, it's like 10
that's
grand.
right. That's very true, man.
But at the time,
Sorry. Go ahead.
a horn of that caliber is, was a 4 grand or so, 3 grand, 4 grand,
Man, what?
so,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say you mentioned that you started as a legit player, and me as a saxophone player, I can tell by you playing and your your facility over the instrument that I can it makes sense that you mentioned that you're a legit player. So you study all the classical repertoire. I'm assuming. How
All the classical repertoire.
did you were
Yeah.
you doing
And
that on alto?
I did that all on alto. And the funny part was that as I was learning, there were a couple of alto pieces at the time, including, I remember, Concertino de Cámara by Jackie Bear. I don't know if you're familiar with that. The Glassenoff Concerto as well.
Yeah,
Some of these pieces, a lot
Glassenough.
of these pieces have actually altissimo written already on them. And in a couple of places, it says, octave up. And I was like, wow, so there's an extended range. So I remember, still in high school, heading into, taking a bus and going to the public library and checking out, what's this whole upper range of the instrument was all about, and I found Top Tones for Saxophone by Singer Rashard, and that was for
Right.
me became the Bible. And nobody actually told me that this stuff was hard, so I just kind of went in there, and I always tell my students, never to think of things as hard, because as soon as you think of something hard, then it becomes difficult and you put a mental block in your head.
It's true.
If you just take it for what it is, as soon as you hear your teacher or somebody say, oh no, don't, that's hard to do, then you already have that in your head. It's hard, and it's going to be that much more difficult for you to achieve.
That's true.
So it's not really about that. And at the same time, I was still learning, and I decided to look for saxophone music. And at the same day I found Top Tones for Saxophone, they had records there, and the first jazz record I saw was this record called Two of a Mind. Paul Desmond and Jerry Mulligan with a drummer
Mm,
and a bass player. It was just a quartet, and
mm.
that became the Bible for me for that kind of type of music. It was the first jazz record I really heard, besides the library of Brubeck stuff that my dad was listening to.
That's right. I
So
was just gonna mention. I guess it connected a little bit with your dad, right? Your influence
right.
from his music.
Yeah, because my dad listened to Dave Brubeck, and Paul Desmond was a saxophone player, and to me, he was a very lyrical player in jazz, but he had almost a classical tone,
Mm-hmm. That's true.
a very very beautiful tone, which was very different from the other saxophone players in that area, and during the time, So for me, it was something I could actually understand, and I could relate to,
Yeah.
because he had a little bit more of a subdued tone, more classical, more legit oriented.
Right.
you
So, do
know.
you, as you mentioned that you have this strong background of classical music, and then you cross over to jazz? Uh, how do you feel yourself right now as a saxophone player? I mean, I'm sure you still have both, right? And you integrate them in anything that you do. Is that right?
I mean, I constantly, when I practice, I always practice. I'm always practicing melodies.
Mm.
Even when I'm practicing, even if I get an exercise, I immediately try to tackle it as if I'm improvising over a tune, as opposed to just working on an exercise. Because if you
Mm.
find the musicality in what you're playing right away, then it's much easier for it to integrate in your own in your playing. Because
Right.
then I'm trying to I grab an exercise or a cell or something, and I try to work with it as more of a musical sort of material theme,
Mm, yeah.
for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So even while practicing, I'll tackle a standard or a tune that I'm working on, whether I'm about to record for somebody else or whatever. And I'll try to feel it, and practice it as if it's a classical piece, like a classical etude, like a Latin thing, and like a
Mm.
straight ahead thing. If I tackle it in a classical thing, it's more of a kind of a technical kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing more of a jazz thing, then I'm being a little more free, and I'm trying to find language in it, based on what I know as the jazz language, and trying to put that all together. And if I'm playing Latin, I'm more into playing rhythm,
Right.
so it's more of a rhythmic aspect so that gives me the three things that I can work with. So almost classical for me is tone, jazz is feel, and Latin is rhythm,
That's that
syncopation.
Man, that's super interesting, and thanks for sharing your insight on and on how you develop your music, which brings me to the main topic of today, which is your new
Yes.
album, right? Man, I had a little bit of a sneak peek of it on some of the things, the tracks that you've shared, and first of all, I got to say, as a music lover, sound for any instrument is the main thing that we hear, right? Anybody just right away, just the sound or tone quality, if you want to be more specific.
Sound,
Yeah,
yes,
your sound,
sound.
man, it's amazing, man. I love your sound,
Thank you.
and you sharing this background of your influences in music help us a little bit understand where you're coming from with this music. But tell us more in depth. What is this album, and this is not your first album, of course.
No, this is album number
Number
four,
four.
and it's entitled Cachai, which it's a slang, it's Chilean slang, meaning do you understand? Do you dig it?
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Do you dig it? So it's I'm from Chile, so everybody in Chile says "cachai." If you've ever meet a Chilean, after about two or three sentences, it's like, what I'm talking about, "cachai." You dig me, you feel me, you
Right. You
understand,
dig, right? Yeah, you
yeah, you
dig.
dig, yo, what's up, that kind of thing.
That's
So
very
it's
cool.
that kind of thing. But so it was more of an idea of just trying to cachai, as it comes from the word in English to catch.
Mm.
So for me, it was like to catch a feel, to catch a feeling, to catch an idea, to catch a moment, to catch an inspiration. So for me, is I'm very proud of this album. I think it's some of my best work
Mm-hmm.
as a composer, as a producer, as a saxophone player, as a band leader. And I believe the first track we're going to play is "A Day Before Valentine," right?
That's right. Yes.
Is actually there's a story to this. The "A Day Before Valentine," I actually I went to Sylvanas, and I went to see another friend who's a great saxophone player. And I remember he started to introduce one of his tunes, and he said, "Well, this tune is really doesn't really have a title yet." And so he asked the audience, "Well, what's the date today?" And I think it was like, I don't know,
Hmm.
April 20th.
Uh huh.
And so people are like, "Yeah, it's April 20th," and so they're like, "Okay, April 20th. That's what the tune's called." So, because today you're going to
Mm.
hear it, so it's April 20th, and everybody was laughing, and it was cute.
Yeah.
So to me, I thought to myself, when I wrote this tune, I didn't have a title for it,
Mm-hmm.
but it was very emotional, and it captured definitely something. It captured an idea, an emotion. And I finished writing it the day before Valentine. So I called it. I remember what the sax player had said. And I said to myself, you know what? Let me call it the day it was finished written. And it's called, so that's why I called it the day before Valentine. And when you listen to it, you can actually see that it's much more than that. To me, it's as I wrote it, I was drinking some wine, and for me, being Chileno, um, for me, each bottle of wine, once it's open, it actually tells a lover story. So for me, it's like the arc of a love affair. So this tune is a representation of somebody's arc of a love affair.
Oh, I see.
So if you listen to it, I don't know. I think
You gotta
it
open
has that kind of.
you gotta open a bottle of wine to listen to this,
Yeah,
right?
this is how you see it has immediately, the entrance is very open. The piano player, Nitzan Gavrieli, who's very passionate player, he plays in the upper stack of oh my God, it's just, I had a hard time choosing takes because we had so many good takes. But so this particular take is actually the one on the CD that we're about to listen
Man,
to.
before we show it, tell us just briefly who's on this too, so that people know what's going on.
Okay, obviously I'm playing tenor, Nitzan Gavrieli on piano, Costas Balsanani on electric guitar, Gabriel Vivas on acoustic bass, and Joel Mateo on drums. So we have Chile, Israel, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and Venezuela being represented
Man,
as
that's
musicians.
that's really awesome. So, hey, everybody that's listening out there, we're about to check out this. It's not just a track, but it's also an amazing video of basically. Let me just switch really quick here to the first song that we're doing, which is a day before Valentine.
Day
This
before.
is dropping tomorrow in all platforms. So
That's
you
right. It's available actually on Bandcamp right now, but it drops everywhere tomorrow.
everywhere. So you wanna catch this now? Just go to Bandcamp. We're gonna put all
Go
this
to
on the
Bandcamp,
bank.
find me on Spotify, listen to it. Let me know how what you like, which is your favorite song.
Definitely.
Get into it. Grab a glass of wine, put
Yep.
some headphones on, and just let the music take away. It tells a story for itself.
That's right. So everybody, this is a day before Valentine by this is your composition of Anibal
Yes.
Rojas' composition in his new album Kachai. So let's check it out now. All right, here we go. Hey man, what a tune, what a video, what a band, what a studio, man. Where'd you record this?
This is actually recorded at in Astoria at the Samurai Hotel Recording Studios.
Nice.
It's actually engineered by Danilo Pichardo.
Pichardo. Okay.
Um,
And when did you record this? Is this right before the pandemic or?
Actually, no, this was actually recorded last year,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to release it at the beginning of this year, but clearly,
Right.
things,
Took
the
a
whole
left
pandemic
turn.
just, yeah. So right as I was going to release it, it all fell apart because we finished mixing it and everything by November. Um, so I was ready to go. As a matter of fact, I even thought about releasing it in February,
Mm.
but the we just didn't get. I didn't get things done in time.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, and then everything hit, and I was like, "Wow, this is not good." But
Right.
I waited a little bit, and now I figured, the summer stopped by, and this to me sounds more like a winter album
Yeah.
than a summer album.
Mm.
So I figured, I thought, as soon as it starts getting colder, I'm gonna, you know,
Yeah.
release it, let it go.
Yeah, right before Christmas. This will be the best gift for
That's
for all your
right. It's
family. Can people get physical copies of this?
They can get physical copies. I have physical copies that are only being sold on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. Okay.
Bandcamp only, or you can DM me and we can work something out. But Bandcamp is where you get the only place where you can get the physical CD.
I see, man. Man, I know you. Um, you are a touring musician. You, as a sideman, as a band leader, you've been around, man. Can you expand a little bit? Can you tell us, for the people that are learning more about about you, what is it that you have been where you been around as a musician though, and who you've been playing with? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've been a sideman for several, major artists, and it's been a riot to meet, so many different people
Tell
and
us
play for
your
them.
favorite ones.
My favorite ones, I played a bunch of times with Michael McDonald. He's a
Nice.
super super nice guy, and he's just down to earth. Also, I
Damn.
got a chance to perform with Alicia Keys,
Woo.
also an amazing artist, and just an overall around super 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 nice person.
Yeah,
I can't say enough things about them.
that's cool.
And obviously, probably my favorite, which is probably where we play the most for sure. As a sideman, sometimes you don't play a lot, and you don't play on every tune. But for me, for sure, the most gig that takes the most out of you as a player has been Blood, Sweat, and Tears, for
Blood, sweat,
sure.
and tears.
Just because you get to
Woo.
flex your solo chops, and the horn parts, and it's been fun going in and out with them over the last couple of years.
Mm.
So it's great. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's tiring. I mean, a lot of people think it's all fun and games, but you spend so much time sitting in buses and vans and hotel rooms and airports, and people are like, "Oh my God, every once in a while." We were in Slovakia a few years back, maybe a year or two ago, 2 years
Was
ago
that with
now.
blood, sweat, and tears, or?
Yeah, and we actually took a train ride from one city to another city, and it was, I don't know, maybe a 3 hour, 4 hour train ride, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, just gorgeous.
The
And I,
scenery.
moments like that, you don't forget. You know,
Yeah, I imagine.
Bratislava, some beautiful, beautiful towns. Tasting the food and everything. So every once in a while we get that, but other times, you fly in. You if you're lucky, you hit the hotel room. Otherwise, you go directly to the venue. You get ready. You do a sound check. You eat. You do the show. You go back to the hotel, and then you get like a 3 4 a.m. lobby call, and you're already in a van heading to the airport, trying to grab another plane, heading to another city.
Right.
or heading back home to another show or whatever, and it's wear and tear.
Yeah.
It's wear and tear, and I think the hardest part is just keeping your chops.
Keep your chops throughout the whole time.
And because you gotta try to play, in the hotel rooms, just you try to find the closet, or behind the curtain, and stuff your horn with towels or whatever, so you don't disturb anybody else.
That's
So
right.
we try to get to the venue early so you can at least warm up.
Yeah, that's right. You know, man, some of our audience members are students and people that might might be considering taking this as a career though. As particularly as saxophone, I know I have particularly some students that they check out sometimes the shows, and some of the people that check us out throughout the world. Um, what is the how do you explain to them? Sometimes I feel like um uh going into school and going to college, and sometimes the vision is a little bit blurred of what you what you're gonna be doing as a saxophone player, and then you have the, like you were mentioning before, the classical route and the jazz route, and it seems to me like you have taken everything of all of this to a really high level. What advice do you have to these people that are really trying to figure out if they want to do this as a living?
Well, if you want to do this for a living, the first thing you have to do is that you have to love it,
Mm,
because at the end of the day, it's work. And it can be very frustrating, and is also very competitive. And
mm,
it's difficult, but that should not stop you from doing it. If it's in your heart and you really, really, really love it, then just go for it. Just make sure that you're a well-rounded musician. I would have liked to. I can play some keys, but I
mm.
would have liked to have picked up, other instruments. I mean, I sometimes I go on Instagram and I look at some of my much younger peers. There's I can't remember his name right now, but there's a guy who plays clarinet and trumpet and saxophone, and I mean he plays everything,
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, just incredible. And I know so many players that are like that,
yeah,
where even at the time I was amazed when I saw Michael Brecker, sit in and play drums. I'm like, wow, the guy can really play drums.
that's right. Not
So
kidding.
when I see things like that, it just amazes you. And I always dedicated, my career to being the best saxophone player I could be,
Hmm.
followed by, getting into flute. And I played clarinet, but I never really enjoyed playing clarinet.
Hmm.
And I should have put more time into, especially clarinet,
Yeah,
because it would open up, your door for different sort of experiences. Being able to play. Sometimes I get called to do, different, whether are shows that are off Broadway or anything where you have to be a multi instrumentalist, or
right.
you do, background music for a TV show, and it's a totally different way of approaching the instrument. You're playing in a rock show and you got to have this huge sound. You're in a studio and in a TV studio, and you got to have a very controlled, focused, and be able to play very softly and controlled, but still be able to have a full sound. So for me, being a classical player, it became extremely useful to
Right.
be able to do that. First of all, move between instruments, change mouthpieces very quickly, show up, and all of a sudden they tell me, oh, by the way, there's baritone on the book, and nobody told me, and I'm sight reading, and they show me the baritone, and I gotta put it together, and I gotta be able to play this instrument that's not even mine.
Man,
You know,
your sound on Barry is massive, man. It's like,
I worked hard on that.
man, man, it's incredible. I mean, I've had, like you said, as being a, I remember really quickly. I remember one of my teachers told me, you don't want to be just a jazz saxophone player. You want to be you want to be a musician, right? That know
Yes.
about writing music, about reading, about all these different things. Man, and I remember playing the Barry, and I'm just being like, no, I don't want. I want to be a tenor player. But my teacher was like, right. He was right. He said, hey, you got to learn how to play all of them. You got to learn how to, and to really open up your possibilities. Going back to to your album. Because I like to show people the second track that you have for us today. You Are you incorporating influences from maybe the music from Chile? Because I know in one of the tracks you play an instrument that's native, right? Is
Yeah,
that the
it's a
quena?
quena.
The quena.
Yeah, it's a quena as a Andean flute, which to me it just brings that sound, from my country, from that type of style of music, and I think it represents where I come from. So here I show up with that kind of a New York sort of tenor sound.
Yeah.
For me, to
What do you
me,
mean,
the
kind
best
of,
tenor sound
man?
is
What do
is a
you?
New York tenor sound.
It's not kind of, man. It's like the real. It's like the deal, man. That's so.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, the best tenor sounds I've ever heard all come from guys who've been either come across or lived in New York
That's
for a
right.
while.
That's
They
right.
just learn. I don't even know where. I don't know if it's in the water or what it is. But there's something about being a tenor player in New York City that
Yeah.
just teaches you to play. I don't know, angrier. Just
Like
on
really
top of it.
full,
It's
man.
just amazing to me. It's a thing. I mean, Bob Berg, Bob Malik, Mincer, Brecker, just like,
Brecker, yeah.
they just have that sound. It's just like,
Yeah.
and I remember hearing these guys live. I've heard all of them live many, many, many times.
That's right.
And it was just incredible. And it's funny that you mentioned all these students because this next tune, I believe, is the fifth track of the album, and it's called "Stay I." Is that right, Abel? Is
Yeah,
that the next one?
yes. Stay I. Yes, as
Stay I. Well, the story behind this was actually kind of funny. After I moved from Brooklyn, I lived in Philly for a while, just because I also wanted to get the Philly vibe. And the Philly is such a great town, and they have a different feel when it comes to jazz and everything. There's something gritty about Philly that I don't hear in New York. It's the same. They're almost like sister cities to me. Music wise, is they both have a lot to teach. So I was in that lovely road we all love to travel in when we live in the East Coast, called the New Jersey Turnpike.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We love it.
Oh, oh, everybody loves it. As a matter of fact, you live in New Jersey, they always ask you, so what exit are you?
That's right.
So
That's right. That is true.
that's what they want. Well, if you remember early on, and now it's all fancy, but for
Yeah.
the longest time, we had these huge signs in the New Jersey Turnpike, and they were all like neon. So you
Mm.
could see what was written, and whatever lit up, that's what would happen. So at the time, I was driving late at night from New York to Philly, and
Mm-hmm.
I could read the sign, and it was supposed to say "Stay in lane,"
Mm-hmm.
but half of the sign wasn't lighting up, so it just said "Stay I." And I thought to myself, "Oh my God, what a great title of a tune!"
I'm gonna
I
grab
thought to
it.
myself, "Be yourself," because everyone else is taken, and that's
Stay
exactly what this music
I.
is all about,
Stay
being
yourself.
myself, which is what it's so important, for students to, yes, you have to understand the language, you have to understand everything, but at the end of the day, you have to, take the language that you learn and pass it through your own personal filter and then be able to say something with it, not just play Brecker lines or Coltrane lines or Charlie Parker
Mm.
lines or whatever. You gotta get what these people, they weren't listening to some of these guys were like making stuff on the spot,
Yeah.
and they were really feeling it. It was their thing. That was their language. They invented that stuff.
The
So there's
contribution,
some,
right?
yeah. So you have to, as a player, be able to find that own identity and that own voice. So this is a particular tune that has some drum and bass kind of feel. And it's got a bunch of things. It even has, I think, little pop aesthetics. But it's got really nice chords. And to me, it was just, trying to be myself because everyone else is taken.
Man, that's really awesome. So how about we share this tune? So
Sure.
this is again for the ones that are tuning in right now. I have some friends that I want to give some shout outs real quick. We got some people from Mexico, we got some people from Texas, we got some people from New York. We got checking it out. I got some Vegas. Shout out to Tom Steele, great saxophonist based in Vegas. He loves your stuff, and we
Great.
also have my friend Ivan from Juarez in Mexico. That he was saying that he heard He says, I met a saxophone player from Philly, Yesif Fura. Do you know him? Anibal Rojas. Maybe he did. I don't know if you do. But he was saying also that Blood, Sweat, and Tears that brought him to mind the song Lucretia McEvil.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the
So
big hits.
one of the big hits, right? And so, man, how about we show them this tune, man? Because
Let's hear
I
it.
love to. So this is everyone. This is Stay I. Remember, New Jersey Turnpike when you hear this tune.
Yes, stay I.
But mostly remember about staying yourself, right? That's
That's right. Staying yourself, be
be
yourself, because
yourself.
everyone else is taken.
So let's check it out. Remember, this is from Aniva's latest album that's about to drop in all platforms tomorrow, but you can get it now if you want from Bandcamp. This is called Kachai, and this is one of the tracks in the album called Stay I. I hope you enjoy. Hey, man, that was cool, man. Man,
You like
I
it?
love your videos, man. I love the music. Uh, yeah, man. I mean, this is a great thing. You put this together yourself, right? You the
I
whole.
recorded and I recorded and transcribed. I didn't transcribe. I composed. I composed everything and arranged everything, and
You produced
yeah, and that's
this
what came out.
too, right? You're the producer and everything.
I produced it. Yeah, I did everything.
Yeah, you play the drums and then you just ask them to like come and do the video,
No,
right?
no, 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 no. I did some really nasty MIDI stuff, and I showed it to the guys, and everybody kind of, raised their eyebrows, and like, all right, well, I'm not really sure about this. It's like, let's just play it.
It's
Don't.
just
That's the MIDI is just, just so you can get an idea of what the song sounds like.
that's right, man. You
You know,
have
so
you been working with these musicians for a while, or how does this come together? This is
well,
your band. This is what is.
man, yeah, this is my band, Joel Mateo. I actually I've known for a long time. Danilo, who is the engineer,
Mm,
who was also Puerto Riqueño, told me about Joel, and we went to see him a couple times. Amazing drummer,
mm.
and I ran into him while I was on tour with Timbalaye, with Ralph Irizarry and Timbalaye,
Woo,
and we were playing the Heineken Jazz Festival in Puerto Rico, and
nice.
he was playing there, and I saw him play, and I remember being backstage, and I looked at him between tunes, and I said to him, "You and I are going to record, Mike. Mark my words." You
You're a man
know,
of
so
your word, man. You're a man of your
that's
word. That's
I
right.
am. I mean, I heard him. I said, "Yeah, that's it." I also Gabriel Vivas, who's a bass player from Venezuela. We played with El Conguero. Man, what is his name? Sandoval. No, not
Ah,
Sandoval. Uh,
Martinez. No, no, no,
no, no,
no.
no, 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 no. I can't remember his name, but we,
You hooked up with
uh,
him. That's how you met him.
yeah, yeah, I can't remember his name, but we played. I was actually covering for Troy Roberts. Uh,
Oh, oh, okay, nice.
so Troy, I think Troy Roberts he got a tour with his own band, so
Yeah,
I took over from what he was doing.
yeah,
So we played Smokes and a couple other places. And Brian Lynch was on trumpet, and it was pretty killing. And
man.
I can't remember the name of the artist, which is really terrible of me.
It's all
Uh,
good, man. Tell us. I'm very curious, man, to hear your story as originally coming from Chile and really just breaking in the New York scene. For the ones out there that are checking us out from outside this area that don't know what the scene is, it's not an easy scene. That's why Frank Sinatra says, "If you make it here, you make it everywhere," right? So it's like, tell us about your experience, man, as an immigrant, if you want to call it like that, or you as a saxophone player coming from another country into this like the mecca of jazz and playing some of this like the top jazz clubs and playing and touring around the world.
Listen, it actually the beauty about this city is that it doesn't matter whether you're an immigrant or you were born and raised in Brooklyn, or you're
Mm,
from Chile, or you're from wherever.
mm-hmm.
It doesn't really matter because this city has a way. It has so much culture and has a way to making it feel like home for everybody. You're
Mm,
walking down the street and you hear different languages. You go to different parts of the cities, and it's really like going to, many downtowns of different parts of the world. So it's amazing. And because of that, this is one of the few places I think in the world where if you say to yourself, let's see, I want to find an oud player that plays like that has a feel from the band Queen, and you'll find that guy. Or you'll find the sax player who plays raga, but from
mm,
knows a particular scales from a very small place. Certain scales that belong to somewhere close by to Marrakesh in Morocco.
yeah,
And,
beautiful.
and you'll find that guy. You'll find something very specific. You'll find exactly what you're looking for.
Mm,
So anything really I have to say about the scene, I think it's irrelevant at this point because everything has changed because of the pandemic. So
Right.
sadly enough, I'll stick to my guns and say you got to be a well-rounded musician.
Yeah.
You got to be able to do everything, and it goes beyond music. I mean, you and I both know. Look at us. We're live on TV. Hi, mom. Anyway, so anything goes. You got to learn how to do Zoom. You got to learn how to promote yourself online. You gotta learn. How to be a musician. Record at home, do videos at home, promote yourself, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever is your thing, and learning how to do all that. They don't teach you at school. It's a whole other thing that you got to learn how to do. You can play. It's like, oh my God, I learned these changes of this one song. This is great. But now how do I show people? Now we're all sitting at home. There are no gigs. How do I promote myself?
Mm.
How do I get students? How do I teach online? How do I play and make it sound good online, with tracks or whatever you got going on? So there's so many things you got to learn outside of, and this applies to anywhere. It doesn't matter where you live because we're all in the same boat. So, sadly enough at this time, I don't know what New York's going to be like once we're out of here and we're all free, we're all tagged and, set free into the wild again. I don't know what's going to happen.
Set free, and man, it's true. It's true. Like being well rounded. I totally agree with you, and really knowing about how to promote yourself. For the people that are friends, the Latinos that are listening to, I'm gonna do a crossover into Spanish. Saludos a toda la gente que nos está viendo, que está escuchando aquí a mi compadre Aníbal, que es un placer para mí tenerlo aquí como invitado, presentando su
Saludos a
música.
todos.
Vaya, recuerdo, Aníbal, la última vez que estuvimos por ahí en Rockefeller Center, que grabamos un video donde estábamos precisamente
Christina McBride.
Martina,
Oh, Martina,
Martina
Martina, sorry.
McBride. Sí, híjole. Y estaba haciendo un frío increíble y estábamos los dos ahí y me acuerdo que decías tú, Latinos representing.
Sí,
Oye, va con lo que hablábamos, para la gente latina que nos está escuchando, la trayectoria de Aníbal vaya, mira, compadre, te lo digo con toda sinceridad, eres una inspiración para muchos músicos, incluyéndome,
gracias,
por
muchas
la
gracias, muchas
trayectoria y vaya, por todo lo que has hecho, por la gente con la que trabajas, por los productos como este álbum que estás presentando, que aún así, ante todas las adversidades, el compromiso de presentar esta música a la gente, la verdad lo admiro muchísimo, man. Así nomás hablando un poquito de español, menciónanos cómo te sientes y qué es lo que quieres que este disco que haga en la sociedad, o qué es lo que quieres cuál es el principal motivo de este disco para ti.
Bueno, para mí trae muchas cosas positivas y la verdad es que ayuda a la gente a sentirse mejor. Si tú te sientes y escuchas la música, cada canción trae una cierta valor, un contenido emocional que ayuda si te sientes mal o estás triste o lo que sea. Y al mismo tiempo espero inspirar a músicos y a los demás también, por cualquier situación. A mí me ha pasado muchas veces que yo algunas veces yo he tocado, ni siquiera en los escenarios grandes, en escenarios muy chicos, donde estamos al final de un toque, son las 1 de la mañana y quedan 3 personas. Y esas 3 personas se acercan a mí al terminar de tocar y me dan las gracias. Y me dicen muchas gracias. De verdad, sentí lo que estabas tocando y me ayudó. Necesitaba exactamente lo que pasó.
Mm.
Me ha pasado también, yo tengo un video en YouTube donde yo estoy tocando Over the Rainbow.
Ujú,
Y yo toqué ese tema varias veces cuando yo algunas veces toco en fiestas privadas.
ujú.
Y me acuerdo que toqué en una de estas fiestas privadas donde un señor había perdido a su hijo en un accidente
Mm.
de automovilista y aparentemente fue reciente y era un saxofonista. Y el tipo, después que yo terminé de tocar, se acercó a mí y me dijo cuánto se había emocionado y se puso a llorar. y se puso a llorar y lo abracé y le dijo que todo iba a estar bien y me dijo, me dio las gracias y me dijo, me sentí, con escucharte tocar a ti, me sentí cerca a mi hijo y es un regalo que a mí jamás nadie me ha dado. Y tú, que yo no te
Mm,
conozco, me
me
lo has
lo
dado
diste
y te
por
doy
medio de la música.
las gracias. Y para mí entonces la música es importante. Imagínate el mundo sin
Sí, no,
música,
imagínate. Es como
sin
pensar,
las artes.
es como, imagínate, es muchas veces una de las preguntas que a lo mejor, bueno, en mi caso personal, cuando vaya ya sabes que la música te agarra y no te suelta.
No,
Entonces, aún así con las adversidades, pues uno va presentándose con los círculos familiares y amigos, etcétera, que te van diciendo, ¿por qué vas a hacer esto? ¿Qué es lo que va a contribuir a la sociedad y demás? Es como lo que dices tú, es el punto en el que vas tú, en el que en nuestra contribución es esa parte de todo ser humano, esa parte espiritual
es parte cultural,
esa parte
espiritual,
cultural,
cultural.
esa parte emocional, o sea, ¿cómo podemos descartar la posibilidad de que nosotros somos más que lo físico y que y lo que tocamos y lo que vemos? Si somos, sentimos estas cosas, entonces esto es esencial. Si tu mente no está bien, si tu espíritu no está bien, imagínate cómo vas a funcionar, cómo vas a ir a trabajo, cómo te vas a levantar en la mañana. Si estás completamente tenso, o sea, es lo físico de
Exactamente.
cómo la música, y precisamente por eso te lo agradezco para mí y para nosotros en The Jazz Exchange. Es un placer tenerte. Me gustaría presentar tu última canción antes de que cerremos esto, antes de quedarnos aquí toda la noche, porque yo aquí me
Bueno,
quedo,
¿querés,
men.
pero querés presentarlo en inglés o en
Vamos a
español?
presentarlo en inglés.
Okay, press one for English. Okay, we're back. Sorry, I pressed two for Spanish. My apologies to
No,
our
man,
English
you
speaking
gotta do it like this.
audience.
Put your credit card number for English.
That's right. Ok, press two for Spanish. Mis amigos que hablan español, muchas gracias por escucharnos y por estar atento a nuestra presentación. Muchas gracias a todos. Ahora, lamentablemente, tenemos que hablar inglés en este momento. Así que muchas gracias a todos. Press one for English. Thank you. We're back in English now officially. I will stop pressing the one or the two. We're back on one. We're
We're back
back
on
on
one.
English.
Yeah.
So yeah, this last tune is actually to track number 6 on the CD, and it's called Midnight Zone. And it's a funny thing because the track you're about to hear, the video you're about to hear, it's not the take that's actually on the CD.
Oh.
It's actually take
Ooh.
one of this take one. So there, it's very very natural. It's not mixed. The saxophone has a little bit of reverb. It was kind of a little bit touched during the studio while Danilo, we were recording it. He was kind of, taking levels up and down and really trying to get it. So I left the mistakes there. There were a couple of things. If you can hear them, great. If not, that's fine. But just to see the quality of how, we were functioning. So it's a very raw kind of thing.
Mm.
And also I use it for promotion, and I put the front cover and the back cover of the CD so people can kind of understand what's going
Mm.
on. I also have to say that the liner notes were written by Mr. Brad Mason, who is
Mm.
the MD for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Yeah, who is a phenomenal trumpet player, and he's part of the Mason brothers. And Elliot Mason obviously plays for the Lincoln Center Orchestra. And Brad has
Elliot.
played with many. I've played with him. I've played with so many artists with him is insane. He also used to play for John Mayer, and he's
Mm.
an amazing trumpet player. And I've played in horn sections with him for many years. So I thought he would be the perfect guy since he knows my playing so well. I handed him the record, before even it was mixed. I said, "Here, check this out." And he called me back a couple of days later and he's like, "Wow, this is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When did you record this? What's going on?" It's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I'm glad you like it," I said, "because now that you like it, I'm
Yeah.
wondering if you want to write the liner notes for it."
That's
And
right.
so, he did. And so the liner notes for the CD are from there. But anyway, regressing back to the tune that we're about to listen to, this is actually take one. I did 3 takes of each of these tunes, and it was really difficult to choose. I think take 2 is better. is the stronger take, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the one that's on the CD. Not because I'm actually playing better, but because I think the band was gelling better.
I
And
see.
sometimes I didn't choose the best solo that I played, but I wanted to just get the take that had the most emotional content and
Very
really
interesting.
spoke to me,
Mm.
regardless of what was happening. Because at the end of the day, it's not about ego, it's not about anything. It's always about the music,
It's about the
whether you're
music.
listening or you're a player or you're trying to practice or whatever. If you get it out of your head that you're not trying to, this is not a competition, this is nothing, this is you trying to be yourself and move forward.
Yeah.
So this tune is called The Midnight Zone, and it's something I wrote when I lived in Chile and at a town called Valdivia, and there's a huge river called El Calle that my parents took me on this tiny little boat. And I was really afraid of, I mean, the river has all that ocean water, and it's got some, elephant seals going by and some,
Mm.
all sorts of crazy stuff. And it really impacted me. So I always wondered what kind of creatures live in the deep part of the ocean or in this
Mm.
particular river that's really deep and really dark, dark blues, dark greens, kind of menacing.
Mm.
And if you look up the most deepest part of the ocean is called the Midnight Zone, where there no light comes in and everything. And so this song is kind of like that. It has that mysterious vibe to it.
Mm.
Kind of a sort of very um, I don't know. I guess
Midnight
ocean
Zone.
related. Huh?
Midnight Zone, like.
Yeah, ocean related water deepness, we're all made out of water. And therefore,
Interesting.
if you really, if you're in a relationship with somebody or you're going to get to know somebody, whether it's your friend or your family member or your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever your tastes are,
Yeah, like.
you got you got to peel the layers and you go into the deepness of what each person is, what each subject is, what each topic is,
Right.
everything that we're going through today, whether it's political, religious wise, health wise, or whatever. You got to dig in deep. You
That's
got to
right.
go into the midnight zone.
The Midnight Zone. We're about to listen to and actually check out this beautiful video. So if you're just tuning in right now, uh, we're having this amazing saxophonist and composer, New York-based Mr. Anibal Rojas, presenting this beautiful music. This is take one, guys. This is not even on the album. So you get to check out this video. It's also on his YouTube channel. Is that right? Is all this
Yes.
material? So follow him on YouTube channel, on his YouTube channel, and his social media, his website. We're putting all this stuff in the comments. Make sure to get in touch with them because you want to have this elements in your life. Like we were saying, he's presented his music to you, and so we're gonna share with you guys Midnight Zone. There's a typo that we need to fix. It's not just midnight; it's Midnight Zone, as you see on the graphic. So you have to make sure that you get this album. This is the latest work that Mr. Anibal Rojas
It's out
has put
tomorrow
out.
on all platforms,
Is
and you
out
can get
tomorrow.
the physical copy only in Bandcamp, AnibalRojasBandcamp.com.
That's right. Get the physical copy if you old school, if you want to say that,
Yeah, and also if you want to purchase this album, please go to Bandcamp because it
It's
supports me as an artist
exactly.
more so than any other platform.
When is that date that Bandcamp gives you like most all of it? I think if I'm not mistaken, it's once a month. We'll find out. We'll let you know exactly. But there's one day a month the Bandcamp doesn't take any money, and all the money goes to the
The
artist.
artist,
So
yes.
make sure to do that. Just go to bandcamp.com and type in Anibal Rojas, and you'll find his album, his latest album, Kashai. And so this is his composition, Midnight Zone. I hope you enjoy. Man, thank you again, man, Anibal, for the ones, the people joining in. This was the third song that we shared. This was Midnight Zone by my friend Anibal Rojas, amazing saxophonist. Thank you, man, for joining us today. We really appreciate it at the Jazz Exchange and the Exchange Lab sessions that we're doing for
Thank
having
you so
you.
much, Abel, and the Jazz Exchange for having me. For sure, you guys are doing such a great job, and for the community and for us artists, it really is wonderful, and we're all very appreciative.
Oh man, no, we appreciate you guys' insight, sharing with the community. We want these videos to go out there to everyone, that are trying to learn more about you guys. And like I said, one of the main things is we're trying to connect artists with new audiences. So this is gonna be on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, making sure that people can come and check it out too as well. We do have we have these sessions every Wednesdays, and the next session we're actually gonna have Mr. Jeremy Pelt, trumpet player.
Woo!
So please tune in next week, and uh, and don't forget to go to Bandcamp and support Anibal Rojas. Get this album. You don't want to miss it out. You want to miss out on this. Go to all your streaming platforms and add it tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow it all gets loose. I open the bag and all the cats come out.
Go check it out. You got a sneak peek today with the video. You even got like a sneak peek at one of the exclusive takes of one of the tracks. So make sure to get this album. Make sure to go to his website and follow whatever he's doing. Again, Mr. Rojas, a pleasure, sir, and thank you for your insight. And can't wait to hopefully play with you one more time soon. Or
Yeah, I hope
many
we get to play
times.
together as well. And also, thank you for having me, and thank you to everybody in the audience and online. I appreciate your support and your love and everything. And I wish everybody health and positivity. And we're all going to get through this together.
Yep, sir.
And we'll see. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Let's
That's
put it
right.
that way.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, and thank you, Aníbal, again. Hope you all to see you next Wednesday, and stay safe.
Great.